Hello, Internet. Welcome back to Box Office Recaps. This is Adam Leak Aaron. So we've done May, we've done June, now we're doing July. I know some of you are going to be like, Malik, it's like late August. It took you this long to do July? Like, what the heck? I know, I'm sorry. I've actually tried to do this, this exact video a couple times, but I just didn't like how it went. Hopefully it's the last time. Because I already got like the thumbnail made and everything. So yeah, July. It was a very slow month in comparison to May and June. There are only 6 major releases to really talk about. I know someone gonna be like, what about The Farewell? That was a platform release, so it doesn't really count. But these 6 were all wide when they came out. So they're the ones that I'm going to be talking about and discussing how well they did or how badly they did. So let's start with the Lion King to be exact. Lion King was the biggest hit of July. Like, are you even surprised? It's the Lion King, for Christ's sake. You know, the most popular movie to come out of the Disney Renaissance. Even though a lot of people were complaining about it online, and I think they're more or less right with how they with what they've been saying about it, how it's just a soulless cash grab. It's still The Lion King. People are going to look at The Lion King, at least this movie, but oh wow, they're making a new Lion King? Cool. I remember seeing that as a kid, and I'm going to bring my kids to see it. That's how Disney does it, and that's how this movie has made $1.4 billion. Like, what? Look at that. It's the ninth, actually, not this, worldwide. It's the 9th biggest movie ever. How sad is that? I don't think it's going to get much higher than this. Maybe it can reach 1.5. I don't know. But yeah, look at that. Look at that the top 20, just dominated by Disney. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's like over half the list. Like, wow, they are... Jeez. But yeah, currently it's made $496 million domestic. It will soon surpass Beauty and the Beast, which made like over $500 million domestic. It's already beat it worldwide. So yeah, it's an undeniable hit. And so for people who hate these Disney remakes, look, I'm sorry. I understand your pain. But the general audience paid to see this. So you're going to be seeing a lot more of these, whether you like it or not. And I know a lot of people don't like that, but don't blame me. Blame the general audience who are watching these movies, okay? So what's next? Spider-Man Far From Home, the first MCU movie to come after Endgame. And this had all the makings to be a big hit. I knew it would be a big hit. Because, one, it's the sequel to Spider-Man Homecoming, a movie that was very successful, got very positive response from critics, audiences, fans, etc. And so, a lot of that goodwill was going to translate to this. Not only that, the fact that this came after Endgame and people wanted to know, like, what about Spider-Man? What's going to happen to him? That curiosity factor also played a role in why Spider-Man Far From Home was a huge hit. It's made $396 million domestic so far, and this is the most important part. It is the first Spider-Man movie ever, and I do mean ever, to crack $1 billion. Not even any of the Raimi movies could do that, and we don't talk about the Amazing Spider-Man movies. They don't exist. They never existed, ever. But yeah. Obviously, huge hit for Marvel, for everyone involved. I'm surprised they didn't announce a third Spider-Man movie at Comic-Con. I thought they would. But I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Because they're going to make that third movie. It's obvious. I mean, considering the success of this, it's undeniable they would make another one. And finally, complete the new Spider-Man trilogy. hopefully they don't repeat Spider-Man 3's mistakes with the third movie. So, the final movie worth talking about, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now, this hasn't done as well as I thought it would. I thought it would be a bigger hit, but it's doing all right so far. It's made 114 million total domestic. It just got started overseas. It was actually number one overseas the past weekend, which is a very positive sign. And I knew this would do decent overseas because Leonardo DiCaprio is an international superstar, and Brad Pitt definitely has some fans overseas as well. So it's undeniable this would be an overseas hit, and in a couple weeks this will probably shoot up the ranks in terms of Quentin Tarantino's movies. Domestically, it's about to surpass Inglourious Basterds. It definitely won't surpass Django. But I think by the end of its run, it'll be in between Inglourious Basterds and Django, which I think is good enough for Tarantino. So, yeah. It's definitely a decent hit. Not a blockbuster, but still a decent hit. Which is something a lot of movies this summer could not say. So, the other movies. Crawl, thought this would do a bit better. I mean, it seemed like the type of not blockbuster, but like that type of fun summer movie escapism deal. That's what I thought. But it just didn't translate all that well. It only made 38 million total, which isn't bad considering the 13.5 million budget, but at the same time, I thought it would do a bit better. It's made 63 million so far, so it's definitely made a profit. But the fact that this domestically couldn't match 47 Meters Down, which was a much, 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 much cheaper movie, and it wasn't even supposed to be released theatrically, that's kind of bad. And, well, I guess Crawl can say, well, at least it beat 47 Meters Down uncaged. So there's that. At least it can say that. Alright, the fifth movie, Midsommar. This was the follow-up to Hereditary, which was also made by Ari Aster. It didn't do as well as Hereditary, only made a little over $25 million. But considering the type of movie that it is, the fact that it was going head-to-head with Spider-Man Far From Home, it could have been worse. And the fact that a super artsy horror movie like this would even make this much is commendable, but still, I think it's a bit disappointing because, again, Hereditary, which was also somewhat very artsy horror movie, made about, well, not exactly double, but close to double of this total. So, yeah, it's not a victory, but it's not a flop either. Which brings us to the only flop of July. Stuber. Yeah, this movie was a dud. Definitely a dud. You can't say anything nice about it. Only made 22 million, which is horrible for a comedy. In fact, Good Boys in its opening weekend alone made about as much as this movie's made in its entire run. So that looks really bad. And so Batista, I remember he said, unlike, The Rock or Vin Diesel or whoever he was talking about, I only make good movies. So, Dave, if this is good movies, then you have some really bad taste. And the movie that was supposed to come out this summer, actually, My Spy, got pushed back way back to January, which is usually like a death date for a lot of movies. So that's not a positive sign. He better hope he stays in the MCU. Him and this other dude. I cannot pronounce his name to save my life. Kunali Najani? I'm so sorry for mispronouncing that. At least he has the MCU too. Otherwise, yeah, this is a huge failure. See, that's literally it. That's all I can talk about. This was, the whole month of July, basically. And also, I didn't mention, it was also dominated a bit by Toy Story 4, which has done better than I thought it would. It actually surpassed Toy Story 3, which is something I did not expect. So, good on that movie. But yeah, that's pretty much it for July. What are your thoughts on the box office for July? And of these 6 movies I talked about, which ones have you seen? I guarantee you a large majority are going to say Lion King and Spider-Man because, well, duh. The numbers speak for themselves. But yeah, that's about it. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment. I guess the only videos I have coming up, I have to, I keep saying way too much. I have a couple of predictions that need to go up. I've already done Ready or Not. I've done Angel Has Fallen. I've done Overcomer. The only one I need to do next is Don't Let Go, and then that's it for summer. And then I have to do a whole summer recap. The good, the meh, and the oofs. All those oofs, because there are a whole lot of oofs, let me tell you. And then I gotta do a whole August recap. That's gonna be so fun. But yeah, that is all, and I am out.